Hi there, and welcome to Griot Connects. We are the podcast where we discover the story behind the book. And I'm Yolanda Rasco, and I am here today. Yes, oh my goodness, today we are diving into the story that I'm calling Radical Reinvention and Unstoppable Determination. My guest, I'm here today with, he's not just an author of 10 books. He's a storyteller tried by fire. Delmont Player is clearly on a mission to serve his greater good. His voice, his vision, and his values, they all reflect that. And I think it comes through in everything that he does. So, this episode is really about living with intention and rewriting your own narrative and showing up in the world as proof that redemption is real and reinvention is possible. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Get ready to challenge the myths, to laugh a little, and to lean in on some hard truths. Because today we are talking about what it really means to be free and how to live on purpose no matter where you start. So let's connect. Let's griot. Hello there, Dale, and welcome to Griot Connects podcast.
How you doing, cuz? Thank you for having me. I'm pleasure and honored to be here.
So you done let the cat out the bag. I haven't even introduced you as my cousin, but yes, he is, family. This is my cousin. So before we go too far, let me just disclose that Dell is my cousin. We are related on my dad's mom's side. And although I would say we didn't really grow up together by virtue of just the geographics, right? And there's a big age difference between us. But I do feel like, Dale, that we have so much in common just in terms of the perspective that we have and the outlooks on life. So my cousin has the drive and the tenacity of a bull, y'all. And I just love that about him. I think you guys are going to really enjoy his story. So let's jump right into it. Day, D, Dell, let's start with a little bit of your backstory. Can you just tell us a little bit about your writing journey? How'd you get started as an author? How'd that happen?
Well, I do. It my journey started writing come from, when I was young. By the time I got to the 10th grade, I could not read nor write.
Really?
Right, so I was kind of I was pushed through school, and because I was problematic. I was a problem child. I was only like really good with hands-on work. So when I found myself in a situation prison where I was at a disadvantage because of my inability to be able to read and write. And so I lashed out constantly, and that led me to solitary confinement to
No
Widow.
kidding.
Yeah, and I took that what I had at that time, which was a third and fourth grade reading level, but I always had a high comprehension. When they used to test me, they always say I had a 12th grade comprehension. Like I can you
Yeah.
show me, and I learned it quick. So I took what I had and just started building on it by reading small little books. Jackie Collins, Philip Mongolian, Sidney Sheldon, John Grisham, and
Wow.
different urban books. And then I took that, and it was like the more I read, the better I became at reading. And as I was reading,
Wait
unbeknownst
a
to me,
minute, say that again. Because here, let me underscore this, because you know my heart is about literacy and about encouraging reading in our community, the value of reading, the power of reading,
yeah,
and listening to you, cuz hearing you talk about how you came all the way through school, excuse me, without the ability to really read at your grade level, which is what a lot of right now, I don't know if you're aware, but about 46%, I think it is, of the youth here in the Atlanta community are not reading at their grade level. So it is a very it's far more common than we want to really admit and talk about. And oh, by the way, not for nothing, you kind of live up to the statistic that when a kid doesn't have that as a tool in their toolkit, they act out.
Right.
Yeah, because it creates a whole dynamic in your life, but it doesn't mean that it has to end there. And that's really what I keep hearing about everything that has happened in your life. You, wherever you started, somewhere in there, you made up your mind, I want to go in a different direction. And that's what's so mind blowing to me. But I didn't want to cut you off, but I did want to underscore that people who find themselves in a place where their reading is not at the level that they want it to be, you don't have to stay there. You can
That's
literally pick up a book and based on what you're saying, just get better at it by reading. Is that right? Did I get it right, cuz?
because practice makes perfect. A man can only enslave you when his knowledge is equal to or greater than yours. So when somebody knows more than you, they can feed you the information that they know that you can't have the ability to understand and to carry out. So they pretty much in so many ways they kind of set the bar of where you are able to go.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. And it as a follow-up to that, I'm curious, was there a one instance where the light bulb went off and you said, "Oh, I want to do something different," or was it a series of things that came about in your life where you made the decision where I call it a Damascus Road experience because I've had we talk about in the Bible Paul had a Damascus Road experience, but I always believed in my own life there was always something that made me want to go in a different direction, kind of turn things around. But sometimes it was a series of events that led to a decision to say, I'm doing something different, baby. So I'm curious, cuz what was it for you?
Mine was kind of, I guess you could say, an event, but also a series. And what I mean by that, it was when the seed was first planted. It,
Okay.
another situation took place when it was basically when the seed was watered, and then the final act, it was when it actually everything came to fruition. So my first time in the Baltimore City Supermax, somebody slid. I still don't know to this day where it came from, but as you know, we come from a big family of Christianity.
Yes.
I received a piece of mail. I was in the Baltimore City Supermax, and it was a Bible course through the mail from Ohio.
No kidding.
Yeah, true story. I have often told this story. I often wrote about it before too. So even in my ignorance at that time, this is how I know that God is always present.
Oh,
So I tried to give it away. So in the Supermax, it's 12 men on the team. So I tried to give it away. Nobody would accept it. And I just did not feel right throwing it away. So
ah,
I ended up opening it up one day, reading it, and I started doing the Bible course through the mail.
really?
This was August of 2005.
Ooh.
I have never since then missed a day without reading the daily bread in the Bible. Although I could follow Islam and everything, I keeps that Bible. That's my sword.
Look
And
at God.
that that was the seed being planted.
Right.
Years later, when I got sent out of state as one of Maryland's most violent and disruptive prisoners in 2007, the governor and the mayor declared a state of emergency because a lot of stuff that was going on in the prison system. I had got caught up in a riot on 2006 of January 6, 2006. Come to Mary, they made a lot of national news and everything. It was a
Okay.
riot up there, a whole lot of stuff was going on. But to make a long story short, they declared a state of emergency in 2007. I believe it was like March the 12th. It was like all this stuff is like documented in newspapers and stuff. So they sent out 97 of what they call their most disruptive prisoners.
Okay.
I, being sent into the federal U.S. penitentiary.
And you was one of them disruptive prisoners, cuz.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, sadly.
My baby. Lord have
Yeah,
mercy.
but
Okay, go ahead. Finish your story.
that's what ignorance do to you.
That's what ignorance do to
That,
you.
that was the only way when I couldn't read and stuff. The only way I knew how to express myself was through
Right.
aggression because I didn't know how to articulate myself and get my point across. So when I couldn't get my point across that way, I would and it made me think a person was bigger than me, so I would equal the playing field by just being aggressive.
Right. Got you.
So once I got there, it was like I had a chance if it makes sense. Now, although I'm still in prison,
Yeah.
here I am, 23 hours away from home,
Wow.
whole lot Louisiana, in a whole nother state, under a federal government register number. I'm
Okay.
in the state's penitentiary. I'm surrounded by every kind of organization, crime syndicate, triads, whatever you can think, every race, every ethnic that you could probably think about, but they don't know who I am.
Right.
Now, in the state of Maryland, I'm just, I done made a name for myself. I'm, I'm, I'm what they considered amongst the elite. But
Okay.
here, nobody knows who I am. So that does two things to me. That
Okay.
makes a threat, but it also makes me a target.
Ah.
So what I did was I decided at that time that it was like a fresh start.
Okay.
So I took it and I started going. I started going to school because when I was on lockup, I used to have one of my family members, Sabrina. She would send me books because I said I want to get my GED. So I have her send me books and I would read. And at that time, I was still fighting with who they were saying I was and who I actually was becoming.
I know that's right.
So when I got out there, I was
You
able
was
to
in the cocoon.
absolutely. I was able to reinvent myself. So bam, now that I'm able to reinvent myself, I'm going to school and I ended up getting my GED valedictorian. So that was when it was being watered. Lo and
Yeah.
behold, at the court, I come back to the state of Maryland, I'm fighting the police again because now the history that I left behind still exists. So I got multiple assaults on officers, multiple infractions in the institution, and my name has a certain stigma to it.
Okay.
Come back in the institution, it's he back in here. They feel like they gotta approach me a different way. I feel like I gotta act a certain kind of way. So the class started beginning again.
Okay.
But what changed was one day I was in the day room. So now over the years, like the gang stuff and stuff had begun to like saturate and like poison the prison system. When I came in, it was man. You know what I'm saying? There was two kind of people in the system when they used to say when I came, it was men and punks. And you fell on
Okay.
the side of the line. The gang thing kind of changed that.
Oh.
So now you might have a guy who considered a nobody or a guy who was less than act in a certain kind of way because he feel like it's 10, 15 guys behind him.
He
So
got
when
some
I
he got some
back,
backup.
so when I came back, now you got all this going on, and the gang and that stuff. It like it's taking over the system. So, guys claiming phones, they claiming kits. Yeah, that's one thing about us in the system. We love to claim stuff that we don't own. Same way in the street, like that's what we do. We claim corners, but then we get locked up. The next person pull up on the corner. That's something that's the ignorance.
Lord
That's
have
bad
mercy.
situation. So
Yeah.
one day I came out, a guy came to me, an older guy, and he said to me, "Man, them kids not letting me get on the phone," and I felt offended because I never had an issue with the phone because I was of that elite, like I do me too. So I came out and I just went down the line. And I told everybody I was on the phone, I'm after you, I'm next. And if the phones would come empty, I would hang them down, meaning so nobody can't get on them. So
Okay.
somebody came in the day room, they like, yo, who on the phone? They like, at this time they calling me player. Everybody called me by my last name. They
Okay.
like play on the phone. Who on this phone? They like play on the phone. Man, who on this phone? Play. So he come to me, it's like I had about three phones hanging at this time. He say, bruh, how you on every phone? I say, I say, since everybody want to be gangsters around here, everybody want to claim phones. This organization claim this phone. These religion claim this phone. I'm saying, I'm taking all the phones and I'm with whatever. And I seen that the young brothers who was part of various different organizations was willing to support me in my ignorance
Wow.
and stop me because it made me say, wow, they're about to go down the same path that I went down and did everything that I
And
did.
what?
But here I'm standing right here about to have to go through the same thing. So it's never end. It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
And that's what made me first start the mentoring. Just reading a book called Mind is the Master by James Allen. We would come out
Yeah.
and we would read it and we would build on it. And that was the turning point that made me like I gotta do something different or it's gonna be the same thing.
See, that's definitely a series of events. You, like you say, some plant, some water, God gives the increase. So you receive some initial information. It opened your eyes, it sounds like. And that's kind of how it happens. That's why I think it is also important to have books in your life because books introduce another set of information that you probably did not have.
I agree.
So that's the whole value. One of the huge values of reading is that it helps form your perspective, the way that you see the world. Well, that aside, let's talk about the concept of freedom because I found a quote from Carter G. Woodson. You might have heard this. Your Vincent is the one who turned me on to this. My
Yeah.
brother Vincent.
Okay.
Okay, he has this quote. It shows up on his email every time, but it was always inspiring to me. It goes like this: when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one out for himself. And it
No,
made me think about the story you told earlier today, I think it was, about the grasshoppers that you used to catch, and how after a while you didn't even have to put a lid on the jar because they knew that they couldn't get out.
right.
And so let me ask you this. How has your definition of freedom evolved over the years from physical to mental to even spiritual freedom? Talk
Mm.
to us, cuz.
And so one of the things that one of the books that I read that really helped me break what I call like the psychological chains of my mind was The Master Plan by Chris Wilson, right?
Okay. Look
So when
that up, folks. The Master Plan by Chris
Yeah,
Wilson.
Chris Wilson, he
Okay.
went to prison as a Jew. He went to prison as a young juvenile lifer, same circumstances. And in this book, when he opened it up, he quotes Frederick Douglass. He quotes Frederick Douglass, slave master, telling telling his wife when he found out that she was teaching Frederick Douglass how to read.
Ooh.
And excuse my language, my terminology, because I always use the word. I don't use the word, and if I use it, I use it with purpose because it actually speaks to the volume of what's being said. But he said to her, "Don't teach the nigga how to read. When you teach them niggas how to read, you no longer can control them." And that stopped me, and it made me cry because I realized at that moment that one of the biggest disadvantages that I had in my life was that I did not know how to read. I did not know how to understand information that was in front of me. So I found an alternative way
Right.
to make it work for me. That was through violence.
Right.
But when
That's how that was your negotiating tool.
right,
Right.
and,
That's how you got what you needed or wanted.
and,
That's what you used to negotiate
and
things.
it made people stop challenging me. So when I would be in school and somebody would say, because I'm like, man, I've never been bullied, but when I think about it now, when somebody would say the teacher called on me to read and I couldn't read, and I think like, man, somebody like, man, she know I can't read. Why would she put me on the spot? I would make a joke. That was my
Right.
defense. And if then if somebody says something like you couldn't read, I beat them up. And I fought so many guys that after a while, people just stopped even bringing it up. They just left me alone about it because they figure if they bring it up, we're gonna end up fighting. They don't want to fight me. So it
Right.
just became a thing that it just got swept. It just got swept. It just got swept under the rug. So
Right.
once I started reading, education breeds separation. So once I started learning certain things, I could no longer do the things that I used to could do when I was naive and ignorant
That
to.
part.
So it's the same way with my writing. If like when you see my writings, you see the evolution. Although like in the beginning, I'm writing like the urban stuff. You see the evolution in the book of how how the characters begin to transition into more positive thinking. And then
Okay.
it got to a point to where it was like I can't even write. So the books that I'm putting out now, they've been written already. I'm just like typing them. But I can't actually sit down now and write the same kind of material because I'm so much far advanced.
You're a different guy.
Hence to books like Hostage, hence my books like Haunted Pain, where we dedicated to women, especially women of domestic violence. So hence to the poems and stuff that I have written and wrote
Yes.
because freedom for me, and it's the same way with my spiritual freedom. The more I learn, the greater I am, the greater I am to as receiving things, the greater I am at giving. I I love giving. It made me want to. It made me want to be way more. That's where my drive come from.
Ah.
I got like people would tell me like, you give me like 2 3 hours of sleep. Like I'm on, and they ask me like, now I'm high off life
I
because
done seen you, brother. You own it. And
I
you
feel like
making things happen. And that is what I love about you. But the story that I'm hearing is definitely a story of transformation where you have reimagined. You saw yourself one way and you decided very intentionally that you were going to go in a different direction. And it just so happens that one of the things that you needed to do to tool up to get you in that new place was to open up some books and to read. But you also began to write. You did a lot of writing. 10 books is a lot of books, cousin. That's a
they
lot.
just, they just the ones that's published. I wrote about 17.
Lord have mercy. So was writing cathartic for you? Did it kind of help you to see yourself a little bit differently and to continue the evolution process? What was that like for you?
So writing was very therapeutic, and a lot of people don't know. So I spent 25 years, 5 months, and 21 days in prison.
Wow.
About 17 to 19 years of that time was in various forms of solitary confinement.
Oh my God.
So I did the Supermax a couple times. I did the Baltimore City Supermax a couple times. I did Ultramax. I did out of state. I did admin. I did shoe programs. And what writing did was it allowed me to create the world as the way I wanted it to be, like almost like a perfect world. Like
Yes.
something you get held accountable for your responsibility. You get held, and even though I was doing it from a negative perspective, it also allowed me to think literally
Yes.
outside the box, right?
Right.
Allowed me to take myself places. It allowed me to live in another world because I could get up in the morning. I would get up in the morning, work out, and then
Okay.
I could. And it's crazy because it's people didn't understand why I would get up in the morning and I'm in a cell, 5 by 9, and I get up, make my bed up, and go sit at the desk, which is like not even a step away, and
Right.
sit for hours and writing. People are like, bro, why you make the bed up? You in the cell? I say because in my mind, I'm gone.
Yes.
Although I'm
Yes.
a step away, when I get out of the bed is for sleep. When I get out, now I done turned the cell into a gym. I get my workout in, and I turn it to my shower, get my shower in, then I sit down, bust my books out, and I write for hours. And for those hours while everybody on the table bickering, beefing, arguing about nothing, talking out the door about nothing, and in some cases losing their very minds because I
Oh,
lost a lot of friends behind those doors because they couldn't live with themselves. So they stand in the door and they talk all day. They didn't have nothing to do, and they too couldn't read or couldn't write, but they never got to a point where they wanted to learn and push themselves to learn. So they got lost back there. They got lost back there behind those doors. And for me,
yeah,
it became therapeutic. And then it kept evolving. It started with poems. I would get mad and I might curse people out. Then it started me writing letters to my family, telling people how much I love them. And then it turned to me writing short stories, joking about what was going on in the theater. And then
yeah,
I started having, I'm like, I'm gonna write a whole book. And then once I did the first book and I let somebody read, they like, boy, you can write. And then I'm like, I'm gonna write another one and I'm writing another part to it. And then it just kept evolving. And I came off lock and got me a typewriter. So when people was investing their money in PlayStations and video games and the latest CD, I
yeah.
came off for the typewriter.
I love it. I love it. It's such a great, encouraging story that you have 25 years and you figured out how to make that time valuable and useful to you. And now we all get to benefit from it because we get to read those stories. We get to hear those characters and see them unfold. But I'm sure you had some days where your lesser angels was sitting up on your shoulder trying to tell you, oh, you ain't got to do all of this. And I just want you to take a moment and speak to those lesser angels and let them know they have no place in your life. What would you say if you literally could see a little one of them little, I call them lesser angels, but we know they are just mean spirits sitting up on your shoulder trying to tell you you ain't got to sit in here writing this and that. What you got to say back to
Oh,
them while I blow my nose?
I had that had so many of those moments. And it's like they never stop. Even now.
Yeah,
Like, cause the devil always at work, and the devil, Lord devils, like people come up whisper something in the ear, but I think I would tell him in hindsight, and it might sound a little not cliche, but like what I would tell him like thank you, and the reason I say that and is because it's like I was talking to a friend of mine one day, a former friend,
okay,
and our roles was about to reverse. So I had been gone all this time, and he had never done anything for me, never, busy. When I went to jail, that was it. So he was on his way in. He was transitioning late in life, and I was in the process of trying to transition out.
gotcha.
And he got me on the phone one day, and he said, through fake tears, bro, I'm sorry. I apologize, man. I should have been in. I said, bro, let me stop you right there. I said, bro, I been forgave you, champ.
Yeah,
I gave all y'all say because listen, had you all not done what you did, I could not have become who I became.
that's
So
right.
I feel like prison saved my life in so many shape forms of the matter.
Gotcha.
Drug addiction, from constant ignorance, from being caught up in the gang culture and
Right.
all these things, being wanting to be this gangster. Cause I got a term now that I call gamercide. And so anytime you put side on something, it's the intentional killing of, like menticide, infanticide, homicide. So
Oh, okay.
side is me intentionally killing the game, what people believe to be this game, like in the street life, because it doesn't exist. It's a facade. It's fake. It's phony, right? So I would say thank you because those demons. That's my drive.
That's
Even
your
my
inspiration.
even my naysayers when I came out. that say, oh, he don't deserve a second chance. I'm gonna show you why I deserve a second. Oh, he shouldn't be out because they believe I'm a fail. Or watch him fail. And I'm saying it ain't that. I don't never want nobody to misconstrue because I say this humbly. I thank God every day. You know what I mean? Cause the God I serve is the most forgiving, the most merciful. And
Yes.
it's not. I have various hiccups. I go through various things, but I don't allow nothing. I don't get stuck there. I get hit, I step back, I shake
Yes.
it off, and then I go right back at it because I believe that an individual man is the master. It starts here.
All
The
right.
minute the minute you beat yourself here,
He pointing to his mind, y'all, for those
that's
that are on just
that's
audio.
that's right. That's when you lose.
It's all up in your head, he's saying.
You As soon as you start telling yourself right here, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And you buy into it,
Right.
it's over. But every time I get those thoughts, when I want to do something, I tell
Yes.
myself, the other like about less than a week ago, I had an issue where it just seemed like everything was hitting me at once. And I came outside, I went to the gym the next morning and I went extra hard.
All
I said, I'm
right.
gonna go hard. And I came outside and I looked up at the buildings across because I'm amazed by construction and architecture because it shows you how great God is because it shows you how great man is. So I looked up at the building, and this is what I said because sometimes you got to remind yourself, cuz.
Yes, you
And then
do.
what I said to myself, look at this big building, right?
Yes. Yes.
Say, man, you so small. Not small in the sense of stature like an individual, but small in the sense of your problems is so small. You
Yes.
set yourself for 20 plus years and you prayed for these problems. Like I asked God to let me out. Let me out. People tell me, oh, they can't pay the bills. Let me out. Give me a chance. I pay the bills and let me out. I say,
I love
and
it.
God gave you that. He gave you that blessing. You don't got the right to sit here now and mope about something. Make it happen.
Make it happen. I love that.
That's
And
what I try
that is
every day.
your mantra, and that is clearly what you live by. So let me ask you this. When you are running, okay, I know you run, and you put your headsets on, you all into it and everything. You got 3 miles ahead of you. You got some hills to climb. You're gonna take in a little scenery, get some of that fresh air. What are you listening to? What's in your ears?
Hey, you be so
Hey,
listen. So listen, I got a business playlist, right?
all right then.
I listen to it must it may sound crazy because sometimes my music varies. So sometimes I literally runs to the ministry. Like the ministry, like my ministry.
Oh, really?
Runs
You be
to
listening to the word of God.
I be listening to the word of God, straight from God, straight from his man. Right?
Wow.
Listening to I be tuned in. I had that the NOI.org on and I'm going. Sometimes I run listening to slow music.
Really?
Adele got a song called "I Rise Up."
That sounds
Dog
good.
got a song say "Beauty," and I'm talking about, and they does something to me. And then sometimes I get on my What's Free, Meek Mills. I get on my Rick Ross,
All
Tupac,
right.
and you know what I'm saying because they hit me with my money bag because all of them have a place in my life. See, because now I also know how to listen to music and decipher it.
There you go.
Cause see, at one time I listened to music and I let it influence and impact how I act and how I move. Now I use the music. I don't let the music
Yes.
use me. I
I
use
love
the music
that.
to motivate, to hit me with a beat. If I feel a little, I feel a little tired on my run. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? My Boosie come on. He get a
Yeah.
rainbow since he been home. I come straight back up and I'm yeah that and I'm
Ready to take that hill, baby.
so
Yes. I know about it. You know I know
I,
about it.
yeah, my Lord throw my little baby on in a minute, and you know what I'm saying. Yeah, and I emotionally scarred. I goes in. Yeah, but that's what I'm buying. Old school, all that '90s stuff. Pop, Biggie, DMX, and then for the nowadays, I'm gonna do a little bit of money back. I'm gonna do a lot of baby. I'm gonna do a
Okay.
lot. I like Rick Ross because he got them beats. And then I listen to a lot of rap, Baltimore rappers, YG, Lil Scooter, Moose, Lil Moose. So yeah, I
Yeah,
got some
I'm
stuff.
gonna have to look them up. I don't know nothing about what you talk about.
I'm, I,
Nothing. But check this, cuz while you shouting out music, shout out an author or two. Who do you think we should be looking at, considering, listening to, or reading rather? Give us a name and a title. Uh,
mm,
Another author that you could shout out.
mm. So I got that, and I'm saying I got to say Anthony Fields, right? Anthony Fields, he got about 13 books on his belt. He wrote a bestseller that was on the New York Times for probably about maybe 9 months under Terry book called Angel, right? He also did about 6 books called The Ultimate Sacrifice with a sister named Wahida Clark, right? She
Okay.
got some she has some real good art, like some of my he's in my top 3. Him, brother named Dutch that did brother named Dutch Kwame, he did True to the Game, all that stuff. I mean he was part of like True to the Game and all that stuff. And then hmm, Cash. Cash out your way, him and Nene Capri. Like they down Atlanta. They in Atlanta. They
All
out that
right.
back South Atlanta, East Atlanta, they all the Bankhead, all that Bankhead stuff and all that. But yeah, but I would have
Okay,
to say
David.
Anthony Fields. Salute to
Thank
my
you.
brother. Yes,
I'm
Anthony
sure
Fields.
gonna look him up. I might have him on the podcast if I
Yeah.
can. But
Washington,
listen,
D.C.
cuz you have inspired us, you have lifted us, you have given us information and inspiration,
Thank you.
all in these last few minutes. So I am telling you, when you first told me, cuz that you had written some books, I knew that I wanted to interview you because you're already an interesting guy. But now we know how you came to all of this new knowledge and new information. We know your transformation and how you was able to evolve yourself intentionally to become who you are today. And I'm gonna tell you, I am super proud of you, baby. When I tell you,
Thank you, Kev.
every time I talk about you, your ears should be burning all the way in Baltimore because I like to let people know who my cousin is and all of the great things that you're doing. Listen, before you go, what is next? What do you have coming up next that we can look forward to?
So next I'll be working with a sister again, Nene Capri, that's out of Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta.
Okay.
Down there in the process of turning my books into movies.
There you go.
So that's what's next. I'll be dropping my next book under, with Cash, under lockdown publications, probably hopefully next 2-3 months. And but the biggest thing coming is I'll just be uh turning these books into movies and just continue on my community engagement work, continuing to work in the system, school system, work with the kids, the young men and young women that, direct them on a better path, a more
Yes,
clear, like one that I had. But yeah, the next thing that you can look out for your cub for is the big screen. Call Tyler Perry and all the big guys. You know what I mean? Cause Nene, she that. I got his sister
I
Jay.
love it.
It's like I'm coming for the movie. I'm coming for what is it, an Oscar. I'm coming for Oscar. Tell
Go
Oscar.
for the Oscar,
Look
baby.
out.
God has
Yeah,
said it. You might as well.
everybody else got stars on Hollywood, but they gonna put a crescent up there for me.
I
They
love
want
it.
lay the crescent down up there and
Look
get
at you.
Hollywood Boulevard.
That's so exciting. Well, I know our ancestors, those who went before us, would say hats off to you because it's really about keeping going. No matter where you start, You don't have to stay there. You could keep going and you can re-envision and reimagine yourself to be that guy or gal that you desire to be. And my cousin is a testament of it. So thank you so much, cuz, for all that you have done, all that you have become, and the example that you are for us. And keep writing, and you guys keep watching Griot Connects. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and look for many more. Thanks, and listen, somebody give me a Kleenex because I need to blow my nose. Good.
That's the time of the year. Everything.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.
All right.